はい、こんにちは。ディスコエリジウムザ・ファイナルカット。続きをプレイしていきます。本屋さんの前からですね、再開になりますが、どうしよう。とりあえず周りを探索するか。なんかいろいろ落ちてるでしょうから。窓が壊れたら、ティブスにお任せと広告に書かれている。
This coin operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible.
硬貨投入口はもう塞がってるんだ。かわいそうな望遠鏡だ。
The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic.
中を覗く。
A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards.
これはどういう意味だろうな。背景に意識を向ける。
Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
器物破損。
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruin in a coin-operated viewer. It took ingenuity.
こっち。これは？なんだこれ。遠くで海鳥のけたたましい鳴き声が聞こえる。黄色い、ビニール袋を振りって空き容器が拾えるようになる。ようやくよ。拾う。拾って売る。安っ。安すぎる、それ。壁に無数の弾痕が散らばっている。安いが32個。空き置き32個集めればなんとかなるかも。おっと。空き置き12個集める。ほら、めっちゃあるじゃん、空き置き。おい、宝の山だぞ。いや、早く来るべきだったのよ、ここに。
This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary.
一旦、お金に余裕は今ないから。北の交差点。こっちは岬の集合住宅マルティネーズ埠頭。お、そんな先まで行けんだ。孤独な水鳥が海を見渡している。あなたが近づいていることには無関心だ。これもか。塗装して日が浅いのか。潜伏がテラテラと輝いている。これはやったね。 豚って言ってる。豚って言ってる女性だな。岬の集合住宅。これ何？お、
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
裏庭の壁。集合住宅の建物の側壁のようだ。概念か。俺はなぜこんな壁を眺めているんだ。3%。まあまあ、66が出れば勝てるよ。
You have no clue. It's just a wall.
ダメだ。
So many walls all over Martinez.
なんだろうね、これ。あ、ここか。ここかな。この中に車みたいのがあるのかと思ったけど、違うんだな。お、マグゲット。あれ？こっち側から裏来れんのか。クーノのクソショーが始まる。ああ、なるほど。もうちょっと早く来るべきだったね、これね。青い、これは何だろうな。お、洋服、暗示、シグナルブルー海軍コート。やった。うん。修理中の自転車のフレームと分解用の工具がある。あそこに少女がいる。彼女が塗料をこぼしたのか。ああ、なるほどね。この赤いやつね。豚って言わないで。私に言ってんだよな、間違いなく。この袋いくらでも瓶が入る。ここは他にも建造物があったようだ。何十年も前に。サンギレーヌ通り 33A 番地の住人専用ドック。空き容器、空き容器。ワーリングインラグズで借りている部屋はこの帆船よりわずかに大きいぐらいだ。こっちにも人がいるんだな。お、マグ。マグがめっちゃ手に入る。体力回復アイテムは手に入んないけど。なんだい？会話するかい？できるかい？
The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
俺たちはお嬢ちゃんの名前が知りたかっただけだ。そんなに警戒しないでくれ。
And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
さっきからチラチラと横ばっかり向いてるが何を見てるんだ？
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms.
これね、さっきのボートね。
Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her steering.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
誰だあれは。
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
いや、これは話しとくべきだな。
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to her on.
壁をどうするつもりなんだ？
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
なんでそうまでして建物に落書きすることにこだわるんだ？
This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation.
つまり何を書けばいいかわからないってことか？
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cards. And my name's not Mona, so...
この件で一つ言いたいことがあるんだが、聞いてくれるか？先に進む。
Yeah?
俺はパブリックアートが大好きだ。俺たちに構わず作業を続けてくれ。悪いが止めに入らせてもらうぞ。これは立派な犯罪行為だ。実は特に言いたいことなんかない。嘘をついた。まあ、いいんじゃない？書いてくれても。
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
先日起きた殺人事件について何か知ってることはないか？
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
じゃあ被害者が着ていたはずのアーマーの行方についてなら話せるか？
What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells?
アーマーだってほら芸術の一種じゃないか。その体にまとう芸術というか。
Ugh, alright. Sad piggy. I'll give you this one.
漁
Saw
村
a little girl in the fishing village running around with military grade handwear. Look cute as hell.
漁村ね。
If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time!
広場から海岸沿いを下った先にあるゴミためのことだよ。そこに行けばガントレットをはめた小さな女の子がいるのか？
No, no. That's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told you what I just told you. I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
まあ豚も動物だしね。
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
それじゃあまたな。
Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
上に行く必要は？漁村？漁村ってどっちだっけ？広場を。まあ、とりあえずだね。とりあえずお話を聞きましょうか。
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
ジョイス・エル。L は何の略だ？
Beaton, my maiden name.
どうして俺たちのことが分かった？
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
女と握手をする。握手をしない。キムの言う、なんだろうな。キム曰く、 いつも通りのハリーの対応で行けばいいんじゃないかみたいな。まあ、割と奇をてらった手法で彼じゃない、彼女とコミュニケーションを取ればいいんじゃないって感じで考えると握手しない。
I'm glad to see you here.
あれキム
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
あんたボートに乗ってるな。
Why, yes I am.
ボートに乗っている人間はそう多くないと思わないか？
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
待て、俺たちは今群島にいるのか？
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
何回遊だと俺たちはレバショールにいるんじゃないのか？
We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
それでもだ、この辺りで他にボートに乗っている人間は見たことがない。
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
キムのこと言ってんだね。
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
こいつに名前はあるのか？
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
それは分かったが何に使うボートなんだ？
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
乗り心地はどうだ？
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
ボートの免許は持ってるのか？
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
これでこのボートのことは大体把握できたと思う。
Good.
ちょっと待って、今気づいたんだけどさ、私気力5もあんの？なんで5個もあんの？あれ？思考によるボーナスか。はあ。学習済みスキル思考によるボーナス。へえ。そんな思考。維持力これか。マグネシウム生命体。あ、そう。そっか。これで意志力が上がっても、気力が上がるのか。ほー。それ美味しいね。あ、ちょっと話がずれちゃったね。ワイルドパインズについて教えてくれ。何をやってる会社なんだ？
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
で、何をやってる会社なんだ？
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
ワイルドパインズにはどれぐらいの金があるんだ？
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
200億。ちょっとぐらい。
Billion?
ちょっとぐらいちょうだいよ。100億単位、100億ってのは一体なんだ？
It's a number, officer. A big one.
なんでできてるんだ？
It's made of 1,000 millions. A million is made of 1,000 thousands.
すげえ。
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
100億単位もの金を一体どこから調達してるんだ？
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
そんなでかい組織がなんでこんなちっぽけなところに執着するんだ？
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners? Who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
世界の全貨物の 8%？ それは間違いなく大変な労力を要する仕事だな。
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
今思考をゲットしたね。15番目のインスリンデ属か。一時的な研究ボーナスなし。なんか、どういうこと？これを、どうしようかな。まあ、いっか。今回のストライキについてどんなことを知っている？
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
待ってくれ。その非公開情報について知りたい場合どうすりゃいいんだ？
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Elements that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
で、それらを廃止するにはどうすればいいんだ？
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the coalition. Unfortunately for you, the coalition also leases you the right to please the West Revachol. But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
本件におけるあんたの役割は具体的にどういうものなんだ？
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
ほう。
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
俺の人種論の師であるジャン・リュック氏のことか？彼は偉大な指導者であり、徳の高い人物だ。そんなことは言えないよ。つまりストライキとリンチはつながってるということか？
Yes, I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later.
リンチが起きる前は話し合いはうまくいってたのか？
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
その拷問ってやつはそれからどうなったんだ？
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it?
ほう。
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
なるほどな。
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
奴らはどんなことを要求してるんだ？
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
えあー、どうも事業というものを全く分かっていないようだな。
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
それってそもそもどういう意味なんだ？
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
こりゃ一本取られた。ずいぶん面白いことを言うもんだな。
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
どうするつもりなんだ？
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me manana.
またマニャーナ。マニャーナいろんなとこで名前出てくるね。
This checks out.
ゲートにスカブ、スト破りたちを配置したのはあんたか？
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
いや、スカブたちの話をしている。
If these workers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
もう一回聞いてみようか。
Scabs.
Don't let her answer it herself.
ストライクブレイカーに表現を改めよう。奴らをあそこに配置したのはあんたなんだろ？
If these strike breakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
一緒か。
It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
あんたはイブラートをどう思ってる？
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
そうなのか？
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
レイピアの一本でも持ってすぐに奴の元に駆けつけたいって感じだな。
Oh, heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin.
いかにもイブラートって感じだな。
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
エドガー、双子のエドガー。話ぐらいは聞いたことがあるな。え？あったっけ？あった？いや、私の記憶にはない。待てよ、あれがもう一人いるってのか？
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
お互い片方ずつ任期が終わったらエドが交互に交代で、もうその双子の天下じゃん。
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
クレア兄弟を除いた組合そのものについてはどう見てる？
The Debarders Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that.
うん。尊敬に値する。
Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Debarders are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debarders Union is...
社会主義を掲げたマフィアだな。
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers.
もう一つ選挙で何らかの事件があったと言っていたが、あれは？
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
先代の組合のボス。
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
その女のボスの名前は？
Sadly, the company records do not
そ
even
んな
give a
ことあ
name.
る？
She's just forewoman in private correspondence. Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files.
ホリー。君の悪い話だ。
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
だからクレア兄弟の前のボスは二人の兄弟による何かこう、妨害にあって失脚したような感じか。
Thank you for your concern, man. We'll be just fine.
この件について知りたいことはこれで全てだ。話題を変えよ
Of course. How else can I help?
う。まだいっぱいあるな。とりあえずイブラーと、とりあえず、ところでイブラーとクレアと話をしたんだが。
You have. And how did you like Mr. Clare?
虹の連合とやらを目指すうぬぼれた社会主義だった。訳中、虹の連合とは、人種差別や階級差別を否定し、多文化を推進する活動。そんなことはないよな。人種差別や階級差別を否定してはいないぞ。俺が選んだ権力者は奴ではない。あんたと資本の大義にこそ忠誠を誓いたい。っていうのもなんか違うよね。このジョイスさんに忠誠を誓うか。まあ、シンプルに気に食わんでいいか。
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually, corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic, Verm-like corruption, reaching into the bowels of the earth.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt Verm myself. How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
イブラート氏が俺の銃を探すのを手伝ってくれている。
Oh. That's
None.
so helpful of him.
なんて親切な方だって。
The lieutenant looks at you, and you can swear his jaw muscle is trembling. He's able to contain the anger and surprise.
言っちゃいけなかったか。
Unconventional police officers sometimes lose their guns. They then go around and tell people about this to gauge their reactions. It's all part of.
キムが怒ってる。
Incredible. Simply incredible. And how is it going? Has this detecting produced a gun?
まだ何も。
Well, maybe he's not as helpful as you thought then. Is there anything else?
ボルシチは熱くするのを手伝ってやった。
Did you now? What sort of borscht is he making?
ストライキ参加者たちを酔ったままにしておけるものを料理に作らせてるんだ。ストを続けられるようにな。
The strike brew. That's a classic. And by turn up the heat, I presume you mean put more alcohol in it?
そうだ。
Why, if I may ask? Why make them more drunk? Aren't they corked enough already?
これはちょっとまずかったな。
Yes, detective. What were you hoping to accomplish with this strange thing?
いい選択肢がない。俺はいろいろな形でアルグルを崇拝してるのさしかないな。これもいい答えじゃないな。ただ自分がアルコール好きだからって話だよね。
Very curious. A very curious thing to do.
Truly. But that's how he operates. He just does things, man, and then talks about them, even if it's inappropriate.
What else?
うん。
Oh, Of course, detective.
なんか
Should something come up later down the road?
いい答えじゃなかったっ
Don't be
ぽい
afraid
な、
to
ジョイ
drop
スに
by
とっ
for a
て。
chat. Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
今回のリンチ事件についてどんなことを知ってる？
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
そっか。
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
ほう。確認すれば教えてもらえる？
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
身分証私ない。
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, detective?
俺がつい最近珍しい病気を患うようになったと相棒が言っていただろ。身分証をなくしたのもその病気と関係してるんだ。
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
その可能性は十分ある。酒を浴びるように飲んだ翌朝、これまでの人生の記憶と世界の仕組みに関する知識がごっそりと抜け落ちたんでね。で、ここまで言う必要ある？キムは割とオブラートに包んで言ってくれてるから、まあそうなるがいいんじゃないかな。
I can't hear you, darling.
ダメか。
Speak up, please.
ひょっとしたら食べちまった可能性だってある。なんたって何も覚えてないんだからな。この世界のことも、この街のことも何一つ。こっちで行こう。
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
なんてこった。話せない。暗示か。暗示はちょっとマイナスなんじゃないっけ。プラス、共感がマイナスか。別のことについて聞いておき
Of
たい。
course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
ちょっと一回、
Of course, detective. Take care.
装備で暗示が増える。今、暗示マイナス1なんだな。暗示がマイナス1か。暗示プラス1のやつ。よし。他は、OK だな。これで暗示がさっきよりプラス2されてるはず。
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? I'm afraid I can't say any more until we've taken care of the formal protocol.
重要だね。装備でステータスを変えるのは重要だな。行くぞ。頼む。
Feelings
く
will guide the way.
ー、低い。いや、仕方ない。しかしだな。俺はこのリンチについて知らなくちゃならない。何しろ俺が担当してる事件なんだ。とにかく情報を集めることが肝要だ。
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. あんたは他にもたくさん物を持ってるじゃないか。俺にはこれだけだ。これが俺という存在のすべてだ。
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
例えばこのボートだ。それとどこかに家だって持ってるんだろ。 俺にはこの事件しかない。
Officer,
気力が。俺はこのリンチ事件のこと以外何も覚えてない。この海岸とリンチ事件のこと以外は何一つ。
you know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible.
お、というと
The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge,
ほ
which
ほー。
honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
うん。すまん、ちょっと失礼する。
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
どんな展開を期待してたんだ？
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman.
ということは俺たちは今彼女の手下なのか？
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
ハーブ取引の捜査をしないというのはどうだ？
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take.
なるほ
We'd
ど
never
ね。
hear the end of it.
だからさ、さっきのダイスだよ。なんでこういう重要なダイスは失敗するんだろうな、私。
What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
どうだろう、そのまず俺の身分証を探すというのは。
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is
これ身分証見つかんないのかもな。
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
うん、数ヶ月かかる。
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
さっきのスキルチェックはもうできないのか？あれ、レッドスキルチェックだった？まあ、聞くか。
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
ちょっと話を整理させてくれ。それはつまりサマラから運んできた材料がターミナル経由でレバーショールに入ってきてるってことか？
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
で、それを俺たちに調査してほしいというわけか。
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
何が言いたい？
The lorries. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still
なるほど。
hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
なぜもっと早く RCM に相談しに来なかった？いや、違うな。トラックがああして立ち往生しているのは単なる偶然というわけじゃないよな。
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
なぜもっと早くこれ聞くか。
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
組合が関与しているというが何か証拠でもあるのか？
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the fourth month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
だからハーブの原材料を取り扱って稼いだ賃金をストライキの費用に当てているってことか？
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
ってなるとやっぱりレイシスト怪しいよな。あと一人なんか悩みを抱えているドライバーもいたな。よし、密輸調査の件をどうするか決めたぞ。
Yes?
引き受けようか。この件については俺たちが調べてやる。運転手たちに聞き込みをしてどんな情報が得られるか確かめるとしよう。
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
もうこんな時間だ。このタトゥーについて何か知らないか？
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
なるほどね。何か知ってるんだな。
Better not tie the fourth day to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
あんた頭が良さそうだな。実は俺たちのいるこの現実世界の真実について教えてくれる人間を探してるんだ。またわけわかんないことを。
This reality.
例の奇病に関わることだ。現実世界で使われている最も基本的な言葉の意味すら思い出せない。
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
何のタスクが今更新されたの？渋滞ミステリー。 あ。コカトゥ、コカトゥ、コカトゥってなんだ？労働者階級の女からコカトゥっぽいと言われた。コカトゥ、あ、コカトゥ本屋のあれか。あの女の人か。今更新されたタスクなんだ。まあ、いっか。うん。
Alright, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
ここはどこだ？
We're in Martinez, baby.
ベイビー？
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
俺もディスコ文化の遺物みたいなもんだな。
Aren't we all?
で、そのマルティネーズというのは？
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten even. Shelled to smithereens during the revolution. It has its charms, just
親
not this
切だ
time
な
of year.
あ。マルティネーズのことをもっと教えてくれ。
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
海と言ったな。これはなんていう海なんだ？
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
俺たちは海の近くにいるのか？
Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
この島の名前はなんて言うんだ？
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
よし、ここまででマルティネーズのことは分かった。レバショールとかいうのは何なんだ？
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
レバショールはどんな町だ？
The great kind.
どういうところが偉大なんだ？
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
なるほど。で、この町は誰が作った？
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile-Marat, depending on your creed.
レバショールはできたのはいつだ？
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
なんでこの町で歴史が決定づけられるってことになってるんだ？
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
なぜここなんだ？
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
じゃあ俺たちは実質世界の中心にいるってことか。
Oh, we're quite a way off.
あれ
About
違うのか。
A collection of tall ghosts behind the water vapor. Light reflecting off their glass windows.
なんかビル群があるんだね。
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. There is no recognition. only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
何も言わない波打つ水面をひたすら観察する。見るからに冷たそうだ。
She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence.
思考獲得。
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Miss will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
なんか他にもあったけどな。
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
そうだな、桂木警部補。この続きは後でまた聞きに来ることにする。
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
うん。
Indeed. I'm
ああ、
always
いっ
at
ぱい
your
あるな。
service.
いっぱいあるな。不可能。うん。RCM についてキムとおさらい済みだって。団結心ね。団結心もプラスできると思うんだよね。うん。まあちょっと、
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
とりあえず一旦以上か。うん。団結心。とりあえず暗示の暗示が下がる服は一旦置いといて、団結心はもうこれ以上上がる。あ、これはそうだよね。ジャケットだもんな。プライチが限度か。あ、でもまだアイテムがあるよな。こっちか。こっちは教官と内陸帝国がある。なるほどね。よし。
Indirect modes
Oh,
of
stop.
taxation. Turns out those financial oversight committee gangsters stuffed millions of hard-earned dividends away in the last place anyone thought to look. The hearts and minds of everyday Rivasholians. You need to spread that deregulation gospel to the people. Tell them about that foreign fair tax. Preach that 98% gross burden. Preach it, preacher man. Set the brothers free. Taxes are racist.
うわー、ウルトラリベラルな会話選択肢でリアルプラス1。マイナス1共感。リアルが1もらえるの？ウルトラリベラルな会話選択って何よ？でも共感、共感マイナス 1？ プラマイゼロになってる？ああ、プラマイゼロになってんだ、共感。まあまあまあまあ。そっか、プラマイゼロということは、フェミニン、フェミニストもう完全にマイナスパークになっちゃってる。電気化学マイナス1だよ。難しいね。これね、ボーナスがさ、こっちの解決策が最初、そのスキルを内面化させるまでわかんないからね。なかなか難しいよな。まあ、攻略サイトとか見れば わかるんだろうけどな。それもやっぱ初見プレイは違うもんな。まあこの行き当たりばったり感でいこうか。今まで通り。はい、では今回はこの辺で一旦区切りましょうかね。まだジョイスとの会話は少し残ってるけれども、時間がね、もう夕方よ。やらなきゃいけないことまだあるし、一旦ここでジョイスとの会話も打ち切りということで、はい。ではよろしければ次回もご覧ください。ご視聴ありがとうございました。